29, and now we're joined by the panel. Andrew McCarthy, former federal prosecutor, National Review columnist, and author of Faithless Execution, and Steven Emerson, founder of the Investigative Project on Terrorism and Islamic Terrorism expert. Gentlemen, welcome. Andy, your take on what's going on?
Steve, you know, every time one of these events happens, we always say, unless we change what we're doing, there's sure to be more. So we can't be surprised at what's happened. I do want to echo what Congressman Pete King just said about how disconcerting it is on split-screen television to watch on one side the perfunctory remarks of President Obama before he launches into a celebratory long speech about how he's, ended the Cold War with President Castro in Cuba. And on the other side of the same split screen, emergency personnel moving the wounded, moving the dead away from this catastrophic attack while innocent people scurry away from smoke and fire and debris. It's mind-boggling.
It really is. Steven, welcome. You have a piece at your website talking about how this attack is horrific but expected.
Listen, the fact is there are at least 2,000 ISIS veterans in Europe today, at least 500 of them in Belgium. In Brussels itself, there are areas, we don't use the word no-go zones, but I will. There are no-go zones where the police and law enforcement do not go, where Islamic radicals have been able to actually hold up for months or years at a time. Mosques are repositories for weapons, not just radicalization programs. This has been a long time in the making, as Andy knows, in Europe. They woke up a little bit last year when there were 130 people killed in France. The French have started to try to get a handle on this, but it's going to take a very long time. Belgium is far gone. I don't think they'll ever get a handle on this. And if you look at the number and concentration of radical Muslim populations within Europe, it's going to take years, if ever, they can get a handle on this.
Andy, what does it mean they captured? And your book, Willful Blindness, I recommend to everybody, by the way. Talk about what it means that they captured the Paris suspect just a few days prior to these attacks. Did they rush the attacks because they thought this guy was going to spill his guts? Did this guy not tell them about this impending attack? Did he not know? What do you think?
I think it's entirely possible, Steve, that they decided that they could move forward and should move forward quickly with whatever was in the pipeline, that anything this guy could give them information on could have undermined. I also think it underscores what I think exactly Steve was just getting to, which is that they're trying to plot attacks against us all the time. And the problem that we have, and until we face up to this, we're not going to get anywhere with this challenge, is that the threat to us doesn't just come from jihadists. That's the pointy end of the spear. If you're going to have mass immigration of an assimilation-resistant population and allow them to set up communities and enclaves where basically the police and the authorities have ceded jurisdiction over the area, then what you're going to have is an enclave on which the ideology which drives this threat can conduct recruitment, radicalization, fundraising,
it grows.
And the like. And it's exactly, it's also a safe haven where the jihadists who immigrate can go right into and blend into the community.
Steve, final word. You got about 45 seconds.
Look, the fact is that Abdullah Salam actually said to them, to the Belgian police, there are attacks in the making. The Belgian police over the weekend found machine guns, they found hand grenades, they actually found, it hasn't been disclosed, suicide vests. So they knew things were in the making. The fact that it took them years to find this, it underscores what Andy just said. And the reality is that this is just the beginning. I'm afraid to say that. I'm afraid to predict it, but I think that, as Andy said, this doesn't happen overnight. these enclaves are repositories for
Gotcha.
weapons.
Andy and Stephen, thank you both very much. Your call's next, folks. Don't go away.